everybody, I am back today with a wonderful roasted tomato soup that is simple to make, perfect for any cold day, and we serve it up with grilled cheese. I have a crouton in the middle. If you want to see how I make these, just keep watching and I'll show you exactly how to do it. It's another cold night here, so we're going to warm up with some tomato soup, some fire roasted tomato soup. Now, I should point out there are a ton of really good tomato soups in cans at your local grocery or your market, and those are good, but remember when you make your own, you control everything that goes into it, and it's so much more healthier and delicious when you make it on your own. So this recipe is super easy. You're going to need 1 medium onion, finely diced. You're going to need 3 cloves of garlic, minced. You're also going to need a couple tablespoons of olive oil, 1 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Now, I did get the organic because I figure since it's the base of the meal and the main part of our dinner is tomatoes, I went for the organics. So this is just Mere Glen organic diced tomatoes. You're going to need 2 of the 14-ounce diced fire roasted tomatoes. Now these again are the Mere Glen organic. You don't have to use organic if you don't want to. Get what you can afford. It's going to be delicious no matter what. Hunt's makes a really good fire roasted tomato, so you're going to need 2 of those. You're also going to need 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. Again, that is organic. And you're going to need 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Now see, they didn't have organic in this at my store, so I got the Hunt's. It doesn't really matter. And I should point out, if you have tomato paste in a tube, which I love, that won't be enough for the soup. These are around 2.8 ounces, and you're going to need 6 ounces of tomato paste. So leave this in the refrigerator and use it in a recipe that doesn't call for, so much. To need 2 cups of water, which is not out yet. You're going to need 2 cups of chicken broth also. Now, if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you can definitely use the vegetable broth. You're going to need just some good old salt and pepper and some heavy whipping cream or milk, whichever you have on hand. So for my family, soup is great. They love soup. I can serve it up anytime. But just a meatless soup like a tomato soup is just not a substantial enough meal for dinner time. So one thing I like to do is to buy a loaf of bread. This is a 3-piece loaf, and all I'm going to do is cut it in cubes, and then I'm going to roast them. I'm going to toast them up in the oven and put a big crouton right in the middle of our soup. And in addition to that, I'm going to make grilled cheese, just regular old American grilled cheese. And you're also going to need a stock pot with a lid, so be sure to get that out and ready. The first thing we're going to do is get our onion diced up and our garlic diced up. Okay, just dice up your onion. I've already peeled my garlic. I'm not going to mince that up. I'm going to use my garlic press. But if you don't have a garlic press, just mince it up really fine. You can put actually the onion and the garlic in a food processor and kind of pulse it a few times, and it will be just fine. Just make your onions pretty small. We'll run our knife through them again here in just a minute. If your family doesn't like onion, then leave it out. It's completely fine. And if you see how clean my cutting board is, I just cleaned it today, and you can check that out in a different video that I will link right here. Super easy way to clean your cutting board. It's the way I was taught in school, and it works really well. Make sure your hands are clean if you're in the kitchen, of course, because they're your best tool. All you do is put your knife down, or your hands on the bottom part like this, and then just move your wrist, move it up and down, just kind of hold it on there, just like that. You just want a small dice on the onion. I like doing a half at a time, that way I have plenty to work with. stock pot on the stove. Turn it to, you know, I like it actually on almost high for this. Add a couple tablespoons of your olive oil. Then go ahead and add your onions. You're going to want those to get translucent. Won't take long, 5 or 6 minutes. I normally like to chunk salt and pepper the layers as I build them. So a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And let those get good and translucent. Once those onions are softening up like these are, you can add your garlic. If you minced it, just add it. I'm using my good old garlic press. Just easy. And then I'll just scrape off all of that yummy garlic right into the pot. Stir it up. I'm going to turn the heat down to about 7 on my stove, but that's a little higher than just medium, but not too much higher. Next, scarlet clove. You're going to add 3. And the next one. You know, the combination of the onion and the garlic already makes my mouth water. It smells amazing. Alright, give that a minute, and then we're going to start adding everything except our cream. So that means we're going to add our 2 cups of water. We're going to add our large can of diced tomato. Right in. We're also going to add both of our cans of fire roasted diced tomato. There we go. And then we're going to add our tomato sauce. The tomato paste. I kind of dig that out of there. I love tomato paste. I used to eat it raw as a kid. And then you're going to want 2 cups of chicken broth. So measuring that out. There we go. And in it goes. And now you're just going to want to stir that up. Turn your heat back up to high. I just don't want to burn the garlic, so that's why I turned it down, in case I didn't explain that. And what we're going to do is add some salt and pepper and a dash of sugar. I forgot to mention the sugar. This is going to make it taste a little bit fresher. So this is salt. It's a big pot, so keep that in mind. It's to easily serve a family of 4, probably a family of 5. And you can always freeze this too. We'll probably eat all of it within a couple of days, so I doubt I'm going to freeze it. Okay, I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of sugar. You don't have to add that if you don't want to. I just think it always makes the tomatoes taste fresher. And stir it up, bring it to a boil, and then we're going to put a lid on it and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. So now that it's come to a boil, we're going to turn the heat down to about medium, which is, you know, really around 4 to 5 number wise if you're using a glass top stove, but if not, it's just medium low. And we put a lid over it. We're just going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes. So while the soup simmers, I went ahead and cut up large squares of this really thick cheesy bread. I think it's going to be delicious as croutons in the tomato soup. And I'm just going to toast it in the oven. Now, it is like a couple days old, which is better because it will absorb more of the soup. But I only wanted the top, and I split it in half and just took, you know, the top layer. But this half, you know, a lot of people would just throw this away, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to put it on a plate, put a paper towel over it, leave it out for one more night so this ain't so soft right here. And then I'm going to put it in the food processor, add some of my own seasonings, and make my own breadcrumbs, which I do with a lot of leftover bread. There's no sense in this going to waste. And these are going to get ready and go into the oven. So this has been simmering for about 30 minutes. Now you could use an emulsion blender thing that you put down in it. I've shown mine before, but I take a potato masher and very gently, because this is a non-stick pan, I'm just gonna, you know, push it through and get some of those tomatoes broke up a little bit more. It'll help thicken it up too. Just be careful, especially if you're using non-stick pan, but you can buy plastic potato mashers. Mine, we just used a lot and it broke, so I went to a metal one, but not so good with new pans. I'm just being careful. Just mash it up, or like I said, you can put it in the blender. You could put it, you know, you could use an emulsion blender with it, and I just really like it chunky, so I'm not going to mush it up too much. Just a little bit. It smells so good. Perfect for a cold night in. Just keep mashing it up till you're happy with the consistency. See, you just don't have to have a whole bunch of fancy tools to make a really delicious, hearty soup. You just don't. Okay, so this is close to being about where I want it. And I'm going to add my cream now. Add about a cup of heavy cream or milk. Either works. Stir it in. You're going to let it simmer for about 10 more minutes, and then it's ready to serve. See, that cream lightens up that tomato sauce. Or that tomato color, I should say. Looks amazing. So I'm going to mash it just a little bit more. Or my favorite restaurants, when they would make tomato soup, would throw in some sun-dried tomatoes. Just a few, and it would give you the chewiest bites. It was delicious. So I'm going to let it simmer for 10 more minutes, and then make the grilled cheese, and I'll show you how I serve it. I think I'll have to have a taste. So this is how I serve it up. I put the big crouton in the middle. I add some fresh basil and the gooey grilled cheese. And this is a perfect meal for any night of the week. It doesn't take long to make the soup, and it's perfect for any cold night you want to stay inside and stay cozy. Thank you so much for watching. The recipe is in the down bar and on my blog at kjaggers.com. You can click below and you'll find all of the links. Thanks again for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below.